As they say in my home country, sir, I can do you a nice SEO. Welcome to another SEO video. Originally, what this video was going to be was that we were going to review some existing articles that would have some SEO interview questions, and we'd kind of go through them and we'd talk about these, and we'd say, like, here's what a good answer is, here's what a bad answer is, here are the questions that are actually good. What it turns out is all the top results on Google are just full of complete trash. So instead, we're going to go through a list of questions that I've actually put together personally that you can ask to people who you are interviewing for SEO, where you can actually get some kind of meaningful information out of them. So first of all, don't ask the kind of questions on this page. These are just kind of true or false questions. What is a link? What is page rank? What is a 301 redirect? Now, what you might notice is these are bad questions, and the author should, in fact, feel bad. What are the two types of SEO? This is not a valid question. This is so simple that it's not worth asking at an interview. This is clearly some content that some SEO company just shit out so they could rank for this. And they do. In fact, they're one of the 2 featured snippets for this search result. I've never seen that shit before. Remember to post in the comments if you've seen that shit before. All of these results that I checked out are bad. For example, these are just a bunch of true or false questions. Is this literally asking, like, who is Larry Page? Let's talk about some actual questions. And we're going to do 5 of these questions, starting with, what is your website? Here's a thing that's very common. You'll have a SEO company, and they'll have some domain name that's even really specific, like Lightning Bolt SEO or something. And you look up Lightning Bolt SEO, and they're sitting at, like, position fucking 12 for their own brand name, and they're claiming to be an SEO company that can rank you for make money online or buy gold or some other extremely competitive or even only slightly competitive keyword. One of the first things you're going to want to do when screening an SEO consultant, and you should even do this before actually interviewing them, is to find their website and to look at it. Now, if you go to the article we have or the video we have about guest posting or finding guest post opportunities, there is a little bit in that article about how you can identify the authority of different sites. So if you want to try to do that yourself, you can check out that guide, and it'll go into a little more depth on this. But if you're not really super into SEO, you can do this kind of website evaluation a little more casually. And now there are 3 things you can look for that any complete novice can do to check out, very basically, how well does a site rank. Now the first thing is to just Google them and see what comes up. Now let's say I have a site, and we'll use 256kilobytes.com because that's the website you're on. And let's say we do a quick search for this. Now this is one of the first things you can do is just to Google a company's brand name. And it's going to depend a little bit on what exactly their brand name is. But if they have something that's pretty specific, so something where you wouldn't really expect there to be that many results, and you can see here there's actually only like 33,000 results. What you're going to want is to make sure that that SEO company is at least ranking on page 1 for their search result or for their brand name. It'll depend a little bit on the exact keyword, but what you can see here is we are in fact ranking for this brand name. The reason this is important is because your brand name is generally very specific, so it's usually pretty easy to rank for. But it's also going to be in your domain. It's going to be like your site's homepage's main title tag. Your brand name is going to be one of the strongest keywords associated with your site. If a SEO company is not even ranking for that keyword, there's a good chance that their domain is either completely new, in which case you might ask them, why is your domain so new? But more likely, it's going to be a domain they've even had for a while, but they just haven't really done any kind of SEO particularly successfully. Now, these might be the kind of people you see in like Upwork or like blind emails where they say, hey, I have an SEO site, but they really don't have any links. They really don't know how to do any kind of SEO. And if you're not seeing them rank for at least their own brand name, then they're not going to be able to rank you for make money online or best DUI lawyer in San Francisco, or some other competitive keyword that is very profitable. You can also, at the same time, check out to see if they have other stuff ranking for their own brand name. So you can see we have this brand name, and we also have a Twitter profile, and we're available on some other sites as well. So that is another piece of evidence that this is actually a real company that actually has some SEO done. And while you're here, you can also use the site key with their domain to see what they actually have indexed on their site. If you're not seeing very many pages indexed, or they might just not have very many pages, but if they have pages on their site that aren't getting indexed, or there's only like their homepage indexed, or their blog is just completely not indexed, there's a good chance that their site might not be particularly authoritative. Now, the second thing you can do is look at the company's actual website and determine, does this look like shit? Or does this look pretty good? So really what I'm talking about when I say does this look like shit is, does this look, first of all, broken? And second, does this look like a default WordPress installation or a similar very generic site? Now, the important thing to know, if you haven't made a website yourself, is that it's very easy to install a basic free WordPress template site and to use a basic template, a free template, that looks halfway decent. Like, it looks okay technically, but it looks very generic and it's really not customized too much. While that site might be usable, and while there are certainly good WordPress sites, if you see something that looks extremely generic, there's a good chance that it's going to be someone who doesn't actually give a fuck about their site. Now, you also want to look for things that seem broken to see if the site is over-reliant on generic stock photos, such as these, whether the site has an actual brand name or if they're just something like consultants. Now, none of those are necessarily disqualifying factors. What you do want to keep in mind is that a lot of sites by shitty SEO consultants are pumped out in bulk in India by people who don't necessarily actually know anything about SEO. Third, what you want to do is you want to try to analyze the kind of phrasing used by the site to figure out whether they are a filthy fucking SEO consultant who should be removed, or whether they're actually a quality SEO company. Now, let's talk about identifying low-quality SEO consultants. Now, you also want to analyze the phrasing on the site somewhat to try to figure out whether they are from the third world impersonating the first world, or whether they're actually a person who is from the United States or like Europe or wherever, as opposed to the third world. This isn't quite the same as just having bad punctuation, although that's also a good sign. There are a number of terms that are often used by people who are from India or Pakistan or so on. At Be Unique, we solely perform friendly, best practice SEO activities, giving your website not only the opportunity to rise in the rankings of Google, but keeping you there for good. Now, this is not a sentence that anyone in the United States would say. And you might think, oh, well, like, it's technically grammatically correct and so on. But that's not really what you're looking for. What you want to identify is whether they're speaking as actual Americans or whether they're using things that are the kind of words you would learn in, like, some English teaching school in India. There are a number of these words. Solely stands out to me. No one would really say that. To rise in the rankings of, that's not really a sentence anyone would say, even though it's grammatically correct. There's also an article by Lewis on the 10 words only Indians say that you'll start to see a lot if you work with people in the third world, or even just get applications from people from, like, third world countries. Kindly, query, keen, task. Can I do your task, sir? Sir, dear sir / ma'am, madam, dear, ping me on Skype, sir. Sir, I can do your query. Sir, I need to do the needful. Let me do the needful, sir. I'm a native English speaker. So there's a whole bunch of these words that you can use to identify whether someone is in India or not. Now, you might want to hire someone in India. There are sometimes when you will need a really cheap SEO consultant, and there are a very small number of actually skilled people in India who can actually do you a nice SEO, but most of them are people who can do you a nice SEO, sir. In general, if someone's in India, you should probably not trust them. Someone tell the SBLC to give me a nice backlink. Again, if you are familiar with SEO, or you go and watch our guest post guide, which has some more information on evaluating site competition, you can definitely get a better idea. Now, if you're a little more familiar with SEO, you can also do things like analyze the site's backlink profile and so on to get a little more insight. If you're a little more casual, I'd recommend you at least do a once-over of the site, see if they rank for their brand name, and also check to see whether they are saying words like sir, keen, kindly, nice, ping me on Skype, sir. Sir, I can do you a nice SEO. Sir / ma'am, dear, kindly send me your query, to determine whether they're truly from the glorious Aryan master race or whether they're in fact from an inferior country like India, Pakistan, or one of the various other Southeast Asian countries that are often full of people who misrepresent their ability and pretend to be from countries like the US or Europe and so on, so that they can attempt to charge more money for services that are often misrepresented. If applicable, you might also ask about sites from past clients to see some context on those and use the same sort of process to analyze them as well. Second, we have a quality question. What is your opinion on eat and yumul? Now, if you don't follow the worst fucking SEO gossip in the world, EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trustworthiness, and YUMUL stands for your money or your life, or your money and or your life. Like, not like a fucking mugging, but things that are about your money or life. Now, these are things that are fucking used by the Google, like, anti-spam or, like, manual review team to review shit manually, where applicable, to see if a site's trustworthy. Like, their internal fucking team. They're not ranking signals. Now, if you in an interview ask someone, what do you think of EAT and YUMUL? And they say, they're real. You should pick up a fucking chair and just bludgeon them into the ground. And the whole time, you should just yell about how they're fucking ruining SEO, and you hope they burn in hell and get raped in the ass by Satan for 1,000 millenniums. Overall, it's a good idea to see if the person you're interviewing is some kind of fucking white hat guru who just repeats everything in the webmaster guidelines verbatim. You might even ask them a question like, what is something in the webmaster guidelines that you think is fucking bullshit? And if there's nothing in there that they think is fucking bullshit, then they are fucking bullshit. Third, you might ask them a kind of procedural question. So the one we're going to use here is, what kind of process do you use for keyword research? Now, what you want to do with this kind of a question is determine, are they overly reliant on particular tools? Do they not really have a process? Do they not really have a good answer? Do they not really have the ability to go in any kind of detail? Now, for this particular question, what I'd be wondering is, where do they actually find their keywords? How do they evaluate how difficult they are? Now, there's a few things you might want to look out for. Are they overly reliant on tools? Do they rely too much on, like, a proprietary metric? Do they only pull their search volume data from Keyword Planner? That might be kind of a limitation, because that's not quite the best solution to get that kind of a data. You might also, so they should be able to outline a pretty detailed or specific process for what they're actually doing to either find keywords, or you might ask them about, like, how do you do off-page SEO, or how do you do a particular process to try to get an idea for what they're actually doing. The fourth question, are social signals real? The correct answer is no. To quote Jeb Bush, motherfuckers, social signals are not a thing. A rudimentary understanding of how the PageRank algorithm works unambiguously explains how social signals make your site rank better. They don't fucking do anything. Ranking improvements that are associated with social signals, in air quotes, are entirely because they cause social media websites to adjust their internal link structure in ways that can be favorable, and that they also create additional links elsewhere on the social media platform. If any SEO consultant tells you that the data itself, the likes themselves, are what causes your site to rank better, that person is fucking wrong. Don't hire them unless you specifically are trying to hire a terrible SEO consultant, which you might need to do in some cases. Finally, the last big question I would ask to anyone I'm interviewing for SEO in a serious SEO position is the following. What stupid bullshit is pissing you off lately? And if they don't have a single piece of stupid bullshit that is pissing them off about SEO, then they probably are the stupid bullshit that are pissing everyone else off. SEO is basically magic. No one knows exactly how the algorithms work, so a lot of people go around shitting out the dumbest ideas in the world, asserting they're true, and creating these dumbass myths that things like social signals exist. A site being older makes it rank better. If you bold your keywords, you'll rank better. Now, if I were to sit here and list every piece of stupid bullshit that has been pissing me off about SEO lately, every stupid fucking thing that people have said is true without an ounce of substantiation, this video would be far too long. So if you're talking to an SEO consultant and there's not one piece of stupid bullshit that is pissing them off, they are almost certainly a complete amateur or a guru. With these 5 questions, show me your fucking website. What do you think about EAT and YUMUL? What kind of process do you use for keyword research? Are social signals real? And what stupid bullshit has been pissing you off lately? With these 5 questions, you can determine whether the SEO consultant you're talking to is actually competent, whether they're some kind of 2-cent contractor from Pakistan, whether they're a white hat guru, or whether they simply love sucking off Google's fat, regular cock. You'll be able to tell whether you should actually trust this SEO consultant for the task you're hiring for.